destination would be file that gets backed up, and file.tar.gz would be the file where the backup will be stored. You don't necessarily need to give both of these here. You can only give one, the first one, file.tar.gz, but that will mean that it will take your working directory and it will back that up. That is not what we want to do here. What we want to do here is, I don't know, we can back some silly things. I will show you which ones shall we back up, but for the time being, let us first type in the path where we are going to perform the backup. Notice that you can also use here shortcuts for paths. They're pretty much universal. I can use them anywhere. And let's type in backup.tar.gz. Oops. .tar.gz, my fabulous typing. And now we're gonna go ahead and type in tilde once again. Sure, why not? Let's back up the contents of our home directory into our home directory, which generally isn't a practice. You perform backups into another folder, you would store backups into another folder. You would either have a dedicated disk or a dedicated space in the server or something of a kind, but it really doesn't matter. I could have specified pretty much any path here, and it would back it up to that location, provided of course that I do have the permissions to write on that location. So let's go ahead and press enter. There you go. You see that everything is being backed up quite literally, and there seems to be a lot of things in my home folder of this user. tar home random guy file changed as we read it. Excellent. So let's go ahead and type in ls. There we go. We have backup.tar.gz. We have successfully backed up pretty much everything that was within this folder. Notice that we didn't only back up what was directly within the folder, rather instead we have, there we go. So it has went into the home folder of the user, it has picked up this folder here, and then it went into that one, and then it copied this, and then it backed up this, and then it went into this folder, and then it backed up the contents of that folder. So it is recursive, it just goes jumping and jumping and jumping. If you're wondering that why don't we have these .pki folders or these .macromedia folders, generally the folders, the folders that begin with a dot, well, we do, they're just hidden, we haven't listed them. You can use ls-a, and there you go, you can see them. Let me just clear this up for you so you can see it a little bit better. You can use ls space -a to list all, and there you go, you can see pretty much everything that we have backed up in the tarball. Anyway, I bid you all farewell, and we shall see each other in the next tutorial, hopefully. Welcome back all. Today I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to actually uncompress things and how to restore your backed up files. Before I do so, I owe you an explanation from the last tutorial that I got entangled with. Well, here it is. Basically, the quotation marks were a problem because then the exclamation mark, I knew that it was interpreting it as some sort of a command or something of a kind, like not, because it generally represents not, and that's why it said like it does not recognize the command or something. That's why I got that error. You see, if I go ahead and type in quotation marks, there you go, bash event not found, because of the exclamation mark. And if I go ahead and remove the remove the quotation marks like this and press enter, you see I'm going to append the file to the last line. And if I type in the escape character here, and if I press enter, still I am going to get exactly the same thing without any problems of whatsoever. I can keep on doing this till the end, till I run out of disk space, but I wouldn't want to bore you to death, so let's go ahead and jump into the subject at hand. Today, as I said, we're going to be dealing with unpacking the files that we've actually backed up, but let me just see. Besides echo, I'm sure I have it here somewhere, so I don't have to type the whole command in again. There we go. these are the two commands that I want to use, and you see I have used the commands that we've learned previously in order to provide myself with such an output. I'm sure you're familiar with them by now. The line that we should be paying attention at is this last line. I've left the first line deliberately so that we can do a bit of comparison. This command we will use to actually extract and unpack everything from this file into something else, while we use this command. Oops. Oh, it's running away. The terminal lines are running away. While we use this command in order to package the contents of this file into this file. Anyway, here down below you have X, which stands for pull it out of tar, V for verbose, P preserve permissions as before, Z treat it as a gzip. Up here as well, except up here it will compress it, and down here it will uncompress it. F for file, and then we pass in the file name, and right next to the file name we're gonna add another argument, which will be minus sign capital C, and then a path to where we actually want to extract these things. Now for myself, I have created a folder, it's called sheep. So I have a folder called sheep right here. I could have named this folder anything I wanted to. Originally I named it recovery or something of a kind, but then the name didn't really resonate, it didn't really it didn't feel right. So I renamed it to sheep. Anyway, we are going to extract it, but before we do, suppose that you have a lot of these backup files here. Some of them you made, some of them you didn't, some of them were made by the system, some of them were made by some other person out there, and you are required to restore a backup for a certain system, but you can read the names, you can read the names of these backup files, but you're still uncertain as to what is contained within. How do you suppose you would have a look inside without actually performing the extraction itself? Well, let's consult with the man pages. That's always the #1 source of these things. And I could have shown you that straight away, but I want to show you one more thing in the man pages that you can use it in a similar fashion like VIM. You can just press semicolon and then type in commands here. For example, you can type in search. So slash, and then what shall we search for? Well, you shouldn't type in search, but this is how you would conduct a search. What shall we type for? Let's type in list. Excellent. So this is exactly what we have been looking for. The second output of the second find of list is what we need. Under examples, you have tar space dash tvf archive dot tar. What does it say? What does this do? It says list all files in archive.tar verbosely. Now we can remove the verbose output here as well, but I'll show you what I mean by that. Let's go ahead and clear, type in tar space dash tvf backup, press enter, and they're going to get listed. So you're going to get the permissions here as well, but I don't know, most of the time I would say that you don't need to see the permissions here to figure out what is in the file, and the dates. It is far more useful, well, dates maybe, but it is far more useful to actually have a look at the contents of the folder, at the contents of the tarball. The reason why I say dates maybe, it's because most of the backups, when they are made, the dates, the exact date, the exact time when the backup was made can usually be seen in the name of the backup straight away. That's how they are usually made. I will show you this as we progress through this chapter and as I show you the cron jobs and the automation and creating a bash script for an automated task and so on and so forth. But for the time being, just know that it is so. Let's go ahead and clear the screen. And let's remove the verbose output because we don't want to see all of that. We just want to get a general overview of what is contained in this particular tarball. Press enter, and there you go. This is a much cleaner output. Here we can actually see the folders. Here we can see the files, and we can generally conclude what this is. Is this what we need or not? But you cannot see pretty much anything else besides the folders, files, and stuff like that. The one